7 VFL.
Liam Henry, Sam Doherty. That's quite the matchup, worthy of an AFL Friday night, let alone a VFL Saturday one. As is Zach Jones's presence, he was being held initially there by Ramshaw. But the free kick will go the way of the Blues. Ben Campriali with it. And drives deep. High launch. Free kick given away by Barrett. And a terrific opportunity for Hudson O'Keefe to keep the roll in front of goal going. 3 goals against Coburg last week. That coming off 2 against the Cats. This would be the ideal start for Carlton as they try and work their way towards the 2nd win of the season. Disregard the clock in the lower left of your screen. This one has started. O'Keefe misses to the left-hand side.
Missed opportunity there, certainly to hit the scoreboard early and get the team up and about, because, you know, for those sort of standards, they're only 35 metres out, you've got to be able to kick them.
Generally a very good finisher too, so Sandringham dodge an early bullet. It's going to come back, though, through Doherty towards half forward. Moyer was forced to sprawl from behind. Handball misses Doherty. Heath attacks it in one direction. Lays a strong tackle. Umpire said illegally. Free kick's going to Rob Monaghan, who, as we mentioned tonight, joined by his fellow Irishman Matt Duffy. Matt making his debut almost 2 years after first signing for the Blues in 2019, soon after, in 2023 rather. Soon after he did that, he did his ACL. Phillips to Boyd, another one who'd be eyeing off a return to this Carlton defence at AFL level. Ben Campriali was clever. They can move forward now through Lemmy, another of their talls, and Moyer has just got a bit of separation on his man. Snuck away from Harry Boyd, and he'll have an opportunity from 45 out.
That was great ball movement from the back half. They won the free kick on half back, and they didn't go down the line. They went back and they resetted themselves, and they came through the corridor. They didn't go out wide at all. They came through the corridor. So the defenders of Sandringham need to tighten up. Once they get on that half back, they need to tighten up as quick as they can. Generally
an excellent part of Ashton Moyer's game. He's kicked 6 goals, 1 so far this season. From 45 out. Shapes it perfectly. What a finisher he is. Good start for the Blues. First couple of inside 50s of the match. First couple of scores to show for it.
Yeah, look, right through the middle here. McLean just sort of lets the ball go through his hand. Campriali gets it, nice clean hands, then gets it to the outside, and then they just go forward and catches your defender out of position so quickly, and you've got to make sure you mark those balls coming in the middle of the ground.
Truck assist replay painting the picture of the setup for Moyer's goal. Sandringham with a couple of moments they'd like back in the opening 2 or so minutes. Boyd versus Pitternet. Hayes versus Henry, and Hayes takes it away. Looking for Doherty. 2 players trying to descend on Lucas Campriali, who went wide. Kick was not the best there from O'Farrell. Carlton making a heavy lifting of this foray that gives the Saints their first real clean look tonight, but there's a fumble. No advantage taken by Jack Carroll, the former Blue. In front is O'Keefe, and with extension, he has the better of Barrett again.
Couple of runners to the outside. He uses Lucas Campriali. His kick misses the target, though. It'll be cut off by Toby Travalia. A couple of first-year players involved there. Travalia played a couple of VFL games for the Blues last season. Heath's handball knocked down. It was intended for Jones, slapped on by Hasty. Wilson tries to sock it to his own advantage, or Boyd. Needed to be quick. Monaghan. Clark. Jones. Can Campriali stick the tackle? He can't. Flip to the outside from Matheson. Now a look at goal for Keeler. And he misses right.
Got to do a little bit better with that, I think, Keeler. He's got to put it to, if he's not going to affect the scoreboard. It's got to go to the front of the square, just to force the Carlton defenders to defend, because otherwise you're just giving the ball directly back to him at the moment. So he just needs to be a little bit better when having a shot at goal.
Boyd set to have his 3rd touch of the night, equal with Sam Doherty. Aggressive kick to the corridor. Second layer's Moya, who'll receive. Shedder, Ben Camporeale, who skies one. It's wide. It'll be a zebra ball. 7 changes for Sandringham. Blake Watson, their first season captain, out with an ankle. So Andrew Matheson with those duties tonight. As Jack Carroll launches, Doherty will try and do same. Keeler stays on terra firma. Collard, second game of footy for the weekend. Keeler dishes off. Rigoni will miss to the left-hand side, playing his second VFL match tonight. 11 touches in the debut in round 4 against the Dogs, and missed the subsequent match against Sandy to be part of the Vic Metro trials.
Sam Doherty with the kick in. Has Boyd out to the left, goes a little deeper than that. They've managed to get over the back of the zone to Ethan Phillips. Boyd will now sweep past, try to create. He's forced to the outside. He goes down the line, just over the head of Lucas Camporeale and out.
Not too sure what he was trying to affect there with the handball going into someone that was on the boundary line. I think what they need to do, they need to bring it in corridor.
Will Hayes, he's taken off the suit that he wore at Caulfield Racecourse today. He and brothers Ben and JD had 3 winners of 9 on the Caulfield program this afternoon. He'll try and continue what's been a glittering showing since he's made his VFL return late last year. He's set to get involved here in pursuit of Travalia, who got it off to Stevenson. Comes inboard. Doherty missed the ground ball. Opened up the door for Campeely. Sam Doherty, what do you want to see from him tonight, Jono? He's trying to work his way back into that AFL team, having played the 6 games this year.
I want to see him penetrate through the corridor. I don't want to see him out kicking out wide. I want to see him come through the corridor. Obviously defend well at the same time, but really penetrate through the corridor with his kicking efficiencies.
Ramshaw was pinged, quick kick inside 50, gets to the front of the contest. O'Farrell needs some support. Here is Doherty. Swooping in there was Darcy Hogg. He was clean under pressure. Boyd. Monahan sinks the boot into it. And that'll work. Mark's taken by Oliver Poole.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure why he didn't run that out. He had a couple of teammates that could have run it out almost the 50 and pushed that to half-forward flank, but his kick worked for him.
Ollie Poole brings it inside to Billy Wilson. Has them lining up across the ground for the switch, but Wilson will run himself into some trouble. Well done, Collard. It was good heads-up play. Forced him back the other way. Fortunately for the Blues, Phillips was in some space. Here is Hayes. Pops the handball over the top. Lucas Camporeale being corralled by Matheson, so retreats to Hayes, who's wrapped up by Jones, got the hands free, good pressure from Sandringham. Camporeale throws a boot at it, misses everything, hurts himself in the process. Free kick Sandringham.
Taken by Matheson, the stand-in captain. Left football, Keeler trapped behind, and that has been Ethan Phillips' MO since joining the league. Boyd aggressive, likeable as well. Sharing is Ferronato. Wider kick and work to be done. It will sit up for Poole. Was thinking about the right, went with the left. Couldn't penalise him for insufficient intent, or you could, no. Yeah,
that sort of just tells you that he hasn't got that side of his body worked out at the moment. Probably the handball was probably more effective rather than the kick, and just put it out to space rather than kicking it towards the boundary line. Could have had a shot on goal there, Carlton.
Ross Lyon in familiar climes. He did coach the Carlton reserves in the early 2000s. At the back of the Sandringham box tonight. Hayes at ground level. Rigoni hunting for it. Hayes. Ramshaw. Hand on it to a dangerous spot. Nelson lurking. And the tackle effectively came in to the chest and arms of Billy Richardson.
That was good hands there by Carlton. They were able to work it out, but yeah, he came in hard, didn't he? He almost had a blank shot at goal, but well done by Sandringham defenders.
Pinning it in the ruck against Boyd. They slap it out on the full, is it? Whose hands it come off? How do they decide who actually hit it? It went out on the full, for sure, but it came off both of them. Now, Boyd was the only one hitting it in that direction, but it came off both sets of hands, so it has to be a throw-in. Boyd and Pitternet hook up again. Hasty pops a handball. Henry slaps it on. Jones under pressure. Quick give. Stevenson. Here's Hayes. Moyer from the boundary line. Tries to square it up. Boyd puts his man under enormous pressure. And in the end, Billy Richardson has rolled over the line.
Geez, that was close, wasn't it? Almost dropping the ball. Lucky he didn't tackle him and try to keep him in play.
Travalia gallops away. Pinpoint kick to Rigoni, who waits for something to assemble in front of him. Had Travalia trailing through, but goes centrally for Williams. Schoenmaker is short. Boyd. Jones tried to dance through Moyer. Back to Schoenmaker. More penetration on that kick to Barrett. And the Zebras are out, and with overlap, but the kick was overcooked for Matheson. And you hear the calls of take it out towards Ned McGuinness, playing his third game of the season. He split his time between 2 games at the Zebras and 1 game with Box Hill last year on the Sandringham Dragons list. 8 plays 2.
Alex Dodson in the ruck for Sandy against Pitternet, who uses the body, throws a boot at it, gets some territory towards the wing. McMahon had the jumper held. McMahon, some big jobs for Harry Boyd playing in defence tonight. The Blues have got plenty of firepower inside 50. They've got McMahon, O'Keefe, Lemmy and Moyer. Here's Land of the Giants down there for the Blues, and there's a couple of them. Moyer comes over the back. Kick from Vickery inside 50. Off the fingertips of Phipps Parsons and tidied up by Jez Rigoni. Searching kick towards the wing. Keeler's going to have a couple to beat. Gets over the back. Boyd. Doherty left it behind. Swooping in was Charlie Rosines. Did it well. Soccer's down the line, but it's all Blues here. Phillips waits for it to go out and doesn't become the beneficiary instead of picking up the football. And to be honest, Nudge, I don't mind that. If you have a chance to grab it inside the line, Jono, but you let it out, whose intent is really...
Exactly, I totally agree. He should have tried to grab it and then played the ball on. But the Zebras' defence at the moment are really holding up well against this Carlton full line in midfield.
Clark in motion, Henry, Fumbly, Doherty in the tangle, handballed it into Clark's knee. And the scrimmage, we let go by the umpire. O'Keefe dragged down by Clark, who then goes and lays on top of him. Andrew McCormack, warmish day by Melbourne May standards, clear night, means things are pretty slippery at ground level.
Yeah, the dews well and truly come in, Nige. Even some questions about whether they've had the sprinklers on most of the day, but it is going to be slippery. Just from a Blues injury perspective, obviously Mitch McGovern, concerns last night. He was out of hospital and he's okay with a bruised sternum, so he'll be in Sunday after the Sydney game next week. And a watch on Blake Acres, who had a shoulder injury. You know, he battled them for a lot of his his career, especially last year. But a watch on whether or not he'll take part against the Swans on Friday night.
Thanks, Macca. Any news on Lockie Cowan and that hamstring? I guess he'll have scans on Monday.
Lockie Cowan's had scans today. They're still awaiting the results of those, but look, expected to miss at least some sort of footy. And as you mentioned, pre-game, Matt Carroll comes out as cover for him. So you'd expect him to come in for the Swans on Friday night. Big game for the Blues. Obviously, the Swans went down to the Bombers. Concerns at the Bombers over Lewis Hayes, young draftee, went down with what looked like a serious knee injury. So on debut, shattering for him. We are fingers crossed for Lewis Hayes, but we'll have details potentially as Sam Doherty just comes to the bench with a blood rule. That's the reason for the stop and play. But we'll get you an update on Lewis Hayes from a Bombers perspective when one comes through post-game.
Thanks, Macca. Well, the latest with 7 News, and tonight, of course, AFL Saturday Rewind straight after this game with Nudge and Kate Massey. All the latest news of the day is Clark streams inside 50. Coming out to meet it was Phillips. Did well. Here's the Irishman, Duffy. First involvement's a little slap towards Lucas Camprielli. Stepping through is Rosines. Did it cleverly. This is right. Charlie Rosines, the youngster, 18-year-old from Wesley College, Ajax, Sandy Dragons and Collegians.
One thing they need to do, the Zebras, Sandringham, is try not to kick it to Phillips, because Ethan Phillips, he's just had the ball on the string at the moment. His intercept marks have been absolutely fantastic. They need to go around him or over the top of him, because he's just marking everything in his territory at the moment.
Yeah, 4 marks for the night for the former Fothergill Round Mitchell medalist, and a neat effort right in front of the benches from Williams. Phillips involved via a spoil. Handball out from Stevenson. Zebras not really able to connect forward of centre. Neat ball inboard. Monahan, pull, got it. Overlap in the form of Hogg. No one leading towards him. Diving fist, Barrett just serves it up for Moyer. On the eve of Mother's Day, the only thing missing for Ashton Moyer there was the gift certificate and proof of purchase. He's got 2. Jono, there were plenty of acrobatic spoils in your esteemed career for the Lions. On the truck assist replay, this isn't going into the spoiling Hall of Fame. What's the learning for Barrett here?
Yeah, look, James Barrett there, just his desperation at the time and just spoiled it back in. And one thing you can't do as a defender is spoil it back into the corridor and let it go behind you. So I think he probably just needs to keep his feet and then keep the ball in front of him and not let it over the back, because normally there's a cheeky forward waiting at the back to kick a goal.
Moyer's got 2 of them. There's Billy Wilson marks on the back edge of the square. Kicker's looking for Ferranato. It's broken up. McLennan. Rigoni to a 1-on-1.5 forward. Boyd, who may have been swung forward now. 1-on-1 with Phillips as Liam Henry swoops in and lays the tackle on Billy Wilson.
Yeah, they've got to stop the impact that Ethan Phillips is having in that back half. He's outstanding at the moment, and they've got to make sure that he can't get near the ball and just mark it.
O'Keefe down to Ben Campriali.
Got to put someone on that can be accountable almost, so someone that can lead up at and probably be the hit-up player rather than just trying to kick it long.
Good strength from Heath. Wins it from the ruck. Keeler get a run at it. Up in front was O'Farrell. Through the legs of Monahan. O'Farrell went again. Ball still in a dangerous spot. McGuinness in there working. Wilson toe pokes it. Blues have got numbers around it. Hayes goes back for more. Ferranato there. Did he pull it in? Umpire said no. It was dragged into him. Ball up within striking range here for the Zebs. They're looking for their first goal.
Boyd to a dangerous spot for Clark, but he can't finish the brief. Abdominal injury's been the speed hump in his 2025. 30% game time in the AFL matches against the Crows and the Cats for Hunter Clark. Carlton are often gone here. Mark drop, though, by Harry O'Farrell, playing his 5th VFL match tonight. Pick 40 in last year's draft. Averaging 12 touches, 4.5 intercepts and 4 rebound 50s per game. And no doubt getting some good learnings playing alongside the experienced Ethan Phillips. That one AFL game for the Hawks last year, but his 83rd match at VFL level tonight. Nice scoop up from Charlton away from Clark. Hogg, clean when required. Hayes was acrobatic. Campriali inboard. Hogg involved again. Saw a pocket of space and cued Ferranato towards it. Nelson in the long sleeves. Ferranato now with a kick. Free fly. McLennan, he's missed another one. A couple of nervy moments. A chance to come back, but then coughs up the ground ball and then has Moyer with 2 goals descend upon him. Young player and Angus McLennan with a couple of mistakes, Jono. Now it's about him resetting mentally and getting back involved in this game.
He does, and it looks like he's trying to spend it before he's got it at the moment. So he just needs to get the ball in his hands and then move from there, and everything will just fall in place for him after that.
Advantage paid for Clark. This gets over the back, and they are away through Ned McGuinness. He runs inside 50, but sprays the kick, misses the lot. Sandringham have had a couple of opportunities, gilt-edged.
Yeah, McGuinness there, Ned McGuinness just need to settle himself there. Could almost run another 10 to 15 minutes there. He didn't have a lot of pressure coming from behind, but unfortunate miss there by Sandringham.
O'Keefe came over the top. Max Heath at ground level. Flips a handball. It's picked off by Nelson. Very clever little give on the way down. Ferranato, they work it through. Charlton was involved. Now Ben Campriali. O'Farrell running forward to the football as Darcy Hogg's having a fine first term. Does he go himself? Does the team thing. Hits up Phipps Parsons on the deck, finds it, bounces it goalwards. And just getting there in time was Ethan Williams to deny Sterling Phipps Parsons his first VFL goal.
Coming off 6 last week for Old Zavs against Old Scotch. Richardson seeking William Johnson, who couldn't take the mark. And here's the desperate attempt on the line, denying Carlton their third of the night from Ethan Williams. Started his VFL tenure with GWS, but has returned Bayside. Hayes went without it, might receive from O'Keefe, who's shut down by Carroll and Jones. Umpire let it go. Hayes kicks it south when it had to travel west. So we hit the 21-minute mark of this contest. Ashton Moyer with goals 2.5 and 15 minutes in. Sandy with 8 inside 50s to Carlton 7, but the Blues have had far more connection between the arcs and going forward as Heath distributes to Jones.
Who drives it towards half forward and finds Jack Carroll, a former Blue. Wheels onto his left. Hits the kick inside 50. Henry read it well. Couldn't haul it in though. Wilson, Charlson, back to Wilson. Ben Campriali. Hayes, the Blues link it up. Nelson to half forward, one-on-one contest here. That's a good mark taken by Phipps Parsons. He'll turn and go. You can see Hogg on the right of your screen, streaming inside 50. Goes to the pocket. Set a task for Poole. McLennan cut across, took the intercept mark. Now to Ethan Williams. He delivers to defensive 50 for Joey Campearly. Off to Travalia. Touch kick, just set up a little, allowed Phillips to get a fist in there. Now at ground level, Ben Campriali having a big first term. Well fought from Charlie Rosines. Wins the football. Handballed through, went through the legs. Picked off. Mark taken by Ethan Williams.
They've gone forward a couple of times, Carlton. They just probably need to lower their eyes, and I guess you just blaze away and kick it long, but I think you're going to need to lower your eyes and hit a teammate that's coming up straight directly at you.
6th touch for Williams. Rosines. Dodson elects to check side it back inboard. Hayes back as cover. Henry collected in a Ramshaw tackle. Jones got it out. Here's the opportunity for Matheson, the stand-in skipper. Couldn't claim his moment, and Max Heath, appealing for a free kick that's not forthcoming. 5 behinds for Sandy from 10 entries inside their forward 50. You've got to find a better structure ahead of the ball and better delivery with it.
Yeah, and it's just composure. You've just got to compose yourself. When you're in front of goal, and especially when you've had so many forward entries and you've missed 5 already, 5 shots, you've just got to settle yourself down and compose yourself once you're having a shot on goal.
Wilson goes long towards the wing off the hands of O'Keefe and Pitternet. Socket to the back. Jones will get there first. Ollie Poole with him. Tries hard to stay out of his back. Needs support. Ethan Williams down the line. Smothered off his boot. It's still alive. Lucas Campriali keeps it in and can go again. Vickery had it and lost it. Ben Stevenson. Quick kick forward. Well done. Phillips got a fist in there. Looked to be out of position. And is so often the case with Ethan Phillips. Closing speed. Timing excellent. Just gets a defensive spoil.
3 intercept marks and 7 spoils a game. He's just a rock in defence for Carlton. A number of the Blues are on the balcony at the Royal Parade end of the ground watching on. 13 AFL listed Blues, 14 Saints in the Zebra lineup tonight. Amongst them, Monahan to Ramshaw. 1-2 will be provided by Duffy. Ramshaw to Vickery, a former Swan. Heads for the wing, and Phipps Parsons, whose low centre of gravity was useful then to get it back to Ramshaw. So the Blues forced into slow play. A bit of anguish on the co-captain's face. Travalia trying to help, and that's better. That's a really important moment for McLennan.
Yeah, look, he was the mark earlier, and he's just learned from that mistake, and that's all you can ask for by these young fellas, is just to come through, learn by your mistake, and make sure you execute the skill when it comes to the opportunity once again.
Jones to Schoenmaker. Henry up the middle. Max Heath has a runner. It's Henry, but he's covered, as you can see. Who's awake up to that. So Heath from inside the square towards the other square. Campearly flew over the top, created the spillage, and Ned McGuinness swoops and scores.
Well, it was all about opportunities, and they were getting the ball inside their forward 50, and Ned McGuinness there just summed up the perfect front and square opportunity for a small forward, and that's what he's there to do. He had his opportunity a little bit earlier to kick the goal, but that there, he just composed himself, didn't rush himself, and made sure the ball went through the big sticks.
First soft drop we've seen for Sandy tonight on the truck assist replay. A tangle between Pitternet and Boyd. Jones goes off the ground and to the advantage of Matheson, but it's turned over by hand, and Phipps Parsons keeps popping up in the right spots. Checks it into the pocket. Nelson will leave it for McMahon, who was stripped by McLennan. Travalia changes gears, heads for the line of the wing, but overcooks the kick. Keeler missed the ground ball. Taking it away was Vickery. Pitternet delegates to Doherty, who's back from the blood rule, heading for space, and O'Keefe, who couldn't get free of Barrett. McMahon to grass. Tricky one for Travalia. He comes to meet it. Phipps Parsons meets him. And Clark, as only Hunter Clark seemingly can, makes the game slow down, Jace.
Classy pickup, wasn't it, under pressure? Henry. But his handball went straight to Monahan. Chance for the Blues late in the term. Monahan drives it deep. Marking power at the back was McMahon. Took it himself on the way down, and then Travalia wrapped him up. Good front-on tackle from Toby Travalia. Saves the day for Sandy.
Now it's Carlton. Carlton are just wasting opportunities going forward. They need to be more creative with their forward entries at the moment. Rather than just keeping it, bombing it long and giving their big targets an opportunity in the air, they've got to kick it to advantage.
Farrell at the back, taken down by Heath. The temptation, Jono, can be to know that you've got 3 or 4 big marking targets in there, so you just bomb it.
Yeah, and it's not the kicker's fault. It's more the forwards, those 3 big key guys. They've got to isolate each other. They've got to sort of have their leading patterns away from each other rather than all leading to the one spot to give a kicker not just one option, but multiple options.
Separate those defenders and make it a lot harder to come over the top, because they definitely have the size advantage inside 50. But as you say, if they are all bees to a honeypot, that advantage lessens. Tap from Boyd. Ben Campriali tries to slip away from Matheson. Pitternet, it's picked off. Well done, Boyd. Did it really well to half forward. Finds Heath 70 from goal. Directing traffic. Collard off it to the pocket. He's going to set this up. In the pocket, Boyd gets down there. The fist again from Phillips. Front and centre was Vickery. Pitternet strokes the kick to Phipps Parsons. On the burst is Nelson. One-on-one contest. McMahon's got 5 metres on McLennan. Gathers, all about the finish. And McMahon hooks it too much. Liam McMahon, 14-5 for the year, becomes 14-6.
A much better forward entry there by Carlton. They pushed up the ground, they fanned out, they made the ground really big. They got it to an isolated situation, but just unable to capitalise there.
So a slow down with the footy there, and Travalia can mark it and almost get rid of the other one too. What a busy opening quarter. The Saints' top 10 draft pick from last year.
Quarter time at Icon Park. The Blues by 5 points. 2-4-16. Sandringham 1-5-11. And as we head to the break, here's our break. Second quarter action thanks to Amy. A must-win game so early in the season for both these teams if they had to stay in touch. Jones to Hunter Clark. Some experience there. Bouncing ball inside 50. Beat all comers. Got all the way to the back for Boyd. He's being pressured by Keeler. Umpire says insufficient intent. Jordan swan dive late.
He did.
Did really confuse the umpire. I'm not sure what the strategy behind that was, but it was a late attempt to try and throw a smoke bomb.
And Isaac Healy was all over it and just appealed to the umpire and asked the question, and the umpire gave him the free kick.
Travalia launches it long and straight. All the way to the square. Pitternet gets back. Good strong grab.
You got to be better than that. The big talls from Sandringham, they've got to bring that to ground. That's their job. You got to compete in the air, bring it to ground, and force the Carlton small defenders to defend their small forwards. Ferranato and Vickery. This is Ferranato. Searching kick to the middle of the ground. A dangerous one. Great grab, Hudson O'Keefe. His marking around the ground is just coming on in leaps and bounds as Hayes' kick's a beauty that finds Oliver Poole. And he'll get a shot from 45 out. The 20-year-old, originally from Echuca United and the Bendigo under-18s. Vic Metro, Fitzroy. Lightly framed, X-Factor wing, flanker type. A great opportunity here for him to kick his second VFL goal in game number 6. Ollie Poole. 45 out. That's always tracking right to the line, off hands and minor score. But good signs there by Hudson O'Keefe. He's seen that the opportunity, there was one-on-one forward. He marks that. It's a crucial mark in the middle of the ground. When you come corridor and someone's trying to hit you, you've got to mark that. But then he turned and he went straight away. He didn't wait for anyone to get back. He's seen that he was had a teammate there isolated and went straight to him.
Shoemaker to Travalia. Had a couple of VFL games for the Blues last year. Travalia went on the Bendigo Pioneers list, coughs it up to Charlton. He's got Lucas Camporeale on the short 45. Collard manning Charlton. Doherty. Shoemaker with the fist. Nelson at ground level, drop the knees. As Hayes for support, it spits out. To it was Ferranato, who thought he had designs on a free kick and instead could well concede one as Hunter Clark and Jack Carroll playing against his former team emerge. So the Blues without a goal since Moyer's second at the 15-minute mark. Boyd and Pitternet tangle. Henry and Jones with a 1-2. Run generated now through Travalia off the instep. It's a miss. And look at the appeals immediately from the likes of Jordan Boyd. They look like they should have a baggy green cap on, such are the appeals.
But certainly for Toby Travalia, that came off the side of his boot. That wasn't deliberate at all. And the umpire, and that's where you like the umpires, to actually know the game and know what's happening. And that there was completely a miskick from him.
Pitternet and Boyd. Slicing through was Wilson. Awkward bounce, nicely smothered. But pressure now in the middle of the ground as Doherty arrives on Campearly. Umpire calls for it.
Both teams are working it through the middle of the ground, which is good. They're not going out, they're not getting caught out in the wings. They're coming through the middle of the ground, which they've got to make sure that they can keep attacking through the middle of the ground, especially the Zebras. They've done that for most of the night so far.
Vickery came in on the edge of the stoppage. He was taken down by Boyd. A fumble from Hasty, uses Travalia. Look out. Trouble for Matheson, got the hands free. Handball was in the Clark direction. Travalia back there to provide support. The Blues pressing hard. Shoemaker off the back foot, off a step. Bold kick, Campearly marks. And they managed to get out Sandringham. Well done, good composure. And now it's Ethan Williams to the wing. Next in line, Lance Collard. Laid in after playing 15 minutes last night at the MCG. He goes to Keeler. And Keeler can assess his options inside 50.
Tried to leave some space or at least shift the Carlton defence. Boyd couldn't take it. Poole could. Poole finds Charlton, who's motioned across from the southern wing. Sweeping kick on the right. Lemmy got the hands out. Outpointed by Barrett. Should make it a Keeler. A second chance to send the Zebras forward. Dodson just couldn't put it in reverse to come back. Phillips, what a terrific judge of the ball in flight he is, to Doherty. And the Blues try and go back to go forward. Hayes, Doherty, Camporeale holding his width, patrolling the wing. Drop the grab as Wilson, Hayes trotting forward, heads to Doherty, parallel to Boyd. And Carlton, they're in second, third gear if you want to be kind at the moment.
Doherty tries to make something happen through the middle. Hayes' handball. Receives it back from Ben Camporeale. Pressure came late. Affected the kick, but not enough to prevent it getting to Liam McMahon, who missed a shot early, but generally a wonderful finisher. And can he go back and kick the Blues third?
Just patience by Carlton off the half-back flank there. Just used it through the corridor, and Camporeale there just with that little handball there, but outstanding. The patience. There's sometimes you can get in the middle of the ground and you just want to blaze away, but the Carlton Footy Club there, they were just patient with their hand use and then their entry forward.
14-6 for the season, 85-38 in his VFL career. Liam McMahon, who spent time on the Collingwood list in 2021 and 22 without playing a senior game. 45 out. Hits that beautifully. As solid a set shot as you'll see from 45 out. That was a magnificent finish. Great to have you with us on 7plus live streaming around the country. All our 7 VFL, 7 Sandful and 7 Waffle games live and on demand throughout the week. The entire back catalogue there as well to enjoy the best of State League footy live and free on 7plus. Jono, do you subscribe to the theory that players sometimes can be drafted too early and they're actually a much better player 3 or 4 years down the track? Because if that's the case, that's Liam McMahon.
Yeah, certainly without a doubt. There are players that can probably take a little bit more longer to mature, and he's certainly one of them. And that was just a superb shot on goal. He needed it, knew that they were inside forward 50, but needed to make sure he went back and kicked that.
Hayes has been called back for the volley to Pittonet. And Jace, to round out the Liam McMahon chat, the retrospective on the 2020 AFL draft continues to take shape. Been the hardest draft recruiters have ever worked on as Travalia sends the Zebras forward. Charleston's at the drop with Collard in pursuit. When you consider that you had no baseline of footy on the Victorian players in 2020, and Victoria is traditionally supplying half of the draft, not to mention the COVID impact of the list sizes and salary cap and other things at the time. Given the amount of eyes and resources clubs had on that draft, it was cautionary tale.
More of a lottery than most, wasn't it?
Based on players like Liam McMahon and what they'd showed at 16 and 17, rather than having a chance to press their case at 18. And that's why, not that players getting through to rookie drafts and having stellar careers isn't uncommon, but that's why you had a Josh Tracy in a rookie draft, and now look what he's doing at Fremantle as Doherty clears. Lemmy attached to Boyd. Charlton to ground, flicked it out. Schoonmaker sandwiched. Travalia, Jones. Zebras work the triangle. Carroll held on to it, elected to kick. Blues have numbers back. O'Farrell marks.
Swings it wide to Lucas Camporeale, over the top to Doherty, who's got Boyd. Boyd measures the kick, and it's perfect for Moyer. Boyd goes flashing by to provide an option down the line. Now the tick lead to come up short. Instead, he'll go inside to Wilson. He thought about the quick release to Monahan. Instead, a little more conservative to Doherty, and they shuffle it into the middle of the ground, corridor at least.
Just another patient build-up here by Carlton. We've seen them do it before, literally 2 or 3 minutes ago, and they scored a goal out of it.
This time they work it to the wing for Charlton. Now back inside again, continually changing the angles and moving this Zebra zone around. Billy Wilson has it. Now the go forward kick, and Lemmy, good one grab. Harry Lemmy can go back from range. It's not beyond him. He'll kick from outside 50.
And again, there's no panic there by Carlton. They worked it off right half back. They brought it over the left half back, and then they brought it up to the wing and just really patient and seen the one-on-one forward. And that's when if you're going to kick it to a one-on-one, it's certainly long inside your forward 50.
Quiet night for him so far. First opportunity from 52 out.
Oh,
hits it beautifully. Not quite. Just dropped short. Was there pressure there on Williams? Umpire said, well, Moyer was technically within 5 metres, even though he wasn't closing on him. Zebras come out quickly through Jones.
Yeah, they're accelerating. Henry to Jones, just to the backside of William Johnson. Schoenmaker, got to be careful to guard the mark here, Vickery. Schoenmaker will work on his left and try and get some leverage. Instead cuts it cleverly for Keeler. Jones is in his vicinity. And also sneaking into the shadows was Collard. What can he create with Duffy standing the mark? Matt Duffy about to get a bit of an education. Dodson won't get a fly. Chance and a miss for McGuinness, who's already got one.
I like that kick by Collard. It actually forces the defenders to actually defend, and not that they defended in any way, but it actually brought it to ground. The Zebras forward brought it to ground, and then McGuinness had that really good snap and goal. Again, just needs to compose himself, McGuinness.
Phillips to O'Farrell. Look and move so similarly. Phipps Parsons has had some good moments already in his first VFL game. Looks like he belongs at the level. McMahon was looking for Ramshaw. It was nicely done by Stevenson. Got there to cut that off. Ramshaw puts the pressure on Williams, and the ball's out of bounds. So the Blues by 13 points as we approach the midway point of this second term. Prime time Saturday night, 7 VFL footy. Blues and Zebras both desperately needing a win. Keep themselves in touch with the top 10. O'Keefe with strength. Quick kick inside 50. It was a lovely pick up, Phipps Parsons. Hayes, Ferranato. Lemmy sets himself. Almost off hands. Well done, Nelson. Strips his man Richardson of the football and will be rewarded. Good pressure, Luke Nelson.
Outstanding there. He didn't give up. He got front and square. The ball didn't come down to him. And then once the Zebra defender picked it up, he was all over him. Didn't want to put a real hard press tackle, but just slapped it out of his hands and held the other one. That was a really good small forward craft there.
Started his career with Richmond in the VFL, then on to Coburg. Now he's a Blue, and he's a goal-kicking Blue. Here's another look on the Amy replay, Jono.
Yeah, look, that was very, very classy by the young Luke Nelson there, just to be able to get there and didn't really, as I said before, didn't really put a hard press tackle on him and just slapped the ball out of his hands, didn't rip the tackle too hard, and that's all you need to do as a small forward. Get your 1 or 2 tackles inside your defensive 50, and if you get 1 or 2 shots and being able to capitalise with it, you've done your job for the night.
49 VFL goals for Luke Nelson, who also spent time with Coburg. So it's 19 inside 50s apiece, but stark contrast, 10 scores heading in for the Blues, 6 for the Zebras. 4 majors to show for it. More to come maybe. Ferranato in front. Williams has looked lively at times in defence. His 10th touch of the night will evade Vickery and find McGuinness, the sole goal kicker for Brendan Goddard's team. He can pinpoint Stevenson. Hasty, who's been quiet. McLennan set upon, tapped it out, but that was advantage Hayes. Vickery steps around Hasty, flies it via the wing. Barrett can come from the side, couldn't complete the grab. Lemmy to the turf, creates the foot race. That'll suit Paul once, twice. Travalia clean when required. Thumps the handball free. Rigoni. High fly comes. O'Farrell touching light towers at Icon. Hasty's at ground level. Dodson, Hasty and out. That would have been some sort of grab given the slippery nature of the footy tonight.
Got up there, and you see it so often. You see it so often. Just bounce when people get that high, they can't take it above their head, but it just bounces off their chest. That was an absolutely superb leap.
Timed it well, as you said, Jono. It just thundered off his chest. Heath and O'Keefe going nowhere.
But I think at the moment, Sandringham are going forward, but they're not capitalised with their forwards. As you said just before, Nudge, it's pretty even in the inside forward 50s, but they're unable to hit targets in their inside forward 50s. They've got to lower their eyes a little bit or kick it to advantage.
Heath got one in the back from Ramshaw. Dishes it off to Zach Jones, who steps around Ferranato. High kick inside 50. Campili waits down, gets to the front. Wilson will take the tackle. Dodson wraps him up. Big Alex Dodson. Played Australian under-18 basketball, had Division 1 college offers, a development offer from Adelaide 36ers, but decided to play footy instead. There's a free kick over the shoulder against Dodson on this occasion. It's going to Hudson O'Keefe. He's having an impact. And O'Keefe, by virtue of the fact that they've got Lemmy and they've got McMahon and they've got Pitternet, has had to spend more time forward, Nudge, than he possibly would have otherwise. So he's developed that extra string to his bow now as a ruck forward.
But you need to be. The pure ruck is not really a need for AFL clubs now. Got to have some capability going forward
or back, yeah.
Or back. And Harry Boyd, who is playing more back tonight, that has been a lot of his football journey, whether it was at Werribee or Shepherd and Bears or Murray Bushrangers. He did play a lot of footy in defence. He's rucked predominantly, though, in his time in the Samford was Nord. As Keeler, who's known for being a high flyer. Henry, who's creative, was in play, as it turns out, and that might work for the Blues. Hot marks. He came off his line. His kick's impacted. Round the body goes Nelson. Ground ball win from Charlson. Heads inside. Body spoil from Jones was clever, but the Blues have got the numbers. Wilson received from Monahan, who drives it wide. Lemmy had to trap that or mark. He seemed indecisive. It works okay. Doherty, and there's Navy numbers aplenty. Hayes, terrific ground ball win from Vickery. Slides the kick inside 50 to Paul, and they're just playing better at the moment.
They certainly are, and it's the patient build-ups that they've got from half-back, and a lot of their scores have come through this quarter is their patient build-up through half-back, and what a beautiful delivery of the football there by Vickery. He just put it out into space, put it to his advantage side. That's what Sandringham aren't doing to their forwards. They're not putting it to advantage side.
Does some classy things, Cooper Vickery, doesn't he? He's so clean, very elusive. Yep. He's come off the Sydney list. Another player who maybe was just drafted ahead of his time.
Correct. 33rd VFL game tonight for the former Swan. 6th for Ollie Poole. Kicked a goal in round 6. Kicked a goal in round 7. As we see the sequence that led to Poole's goal and Carlton's 25-point lead on the Amy replay, Jono, the golf tonight is not so much in the AFL listed players. It's 13 v 14 on the respective teams, but there just isn't comparable figures, the likes of a Will Hayes and an Ethan Phillips, in the Sandringham lineup.
Yeah, correct. And it's the lesser likes that haven't got the AFL contract that are really standing up tonight. And some of those boys there, but geez, that was great work by Ollie Poole there, just to go through and have a shot at goal when it was an opportunity to probably, you know, push to the right or push to the left.
Concerns here for Mark Pitternet, who has gone down. And may have just got a knee in what they...
Where you don't want a knee.
They politely refer to as the midsection. Here's another look, Max Heath. Oh, a little higher than that.
Hip pointer.
Yeah.
Or even a little bit higher.
Under the ribs, potentially. Enough to knock the wind out of him. Pitternet's kick inside 50. Moyle arrived late. Did enough to get it to ground against Richardson. Clark just tries to muscle his way out. Somehow found his boot on the way down. Ferronato in there ferreting. Just throws it out. Stevenson through the legs of Phipps Parsons, who turns tackler on Williams. Camporeale tries to feed it through. Henry in there. Tough football to get any sort of decent purchase on at the moment. Lucas Camporeale tries his luck. In goes Stevenson again. Clark taken down. Smothered off the boot of Henry. Here's Ben Camporeale once more. Off to Poole. Blues win the scrimmage. Good spoil came from McLennan. Spills back to Ben Camporeale. Off to Lucas. Quick snap. Mark dropped. Opportunity here for Moyer. He swoops in. They pile in on top. And finally a bounce.
This is great work by Carlton, small forwards. They're keeping the ball inside their forward 50. Sandringham were out. They got their exit out a couple of times, but they just kept pursuing with the pressure.
And therein lies the split in the game. 3 goals in 12 minutes. You can see the territorial dominance they've had recently. Bit happening off the ball between Williams and Ramshaw. Not many eyes on this ball at all. And Mark Pitternet is handed an easy opportunity to shoot at goal, as Ashton Moyer lets Max Heath know all about it on the way through.
So, Nudge, there is confusion around the block rule. Just explain there why that's a clear free kick to Mark Pitternet.
Well, we'll have a look at the replay, but the core component is playing the ball. More on that in a moment. The vision will tell the story. It tells the story of Pitnet's miscue as well.
So Heath takes the space away from Pitternet, prevents him from having a play on the ball, Jono, but doesn't touch the ball.
Well, he's not even looking at the ball as well. He's got to, I think the first thing is that you got to look at the ball and then you can try to disguise it as well. And
there's the square up there. There's footy karma. Well, not footy karma, but a square up nonetheless, Jace.
McGuinness gives it off. Will Johnson inside 50. Blues get numbers back. Is there a free kick to Boyd? There is. Harry Boyd was held. Ethan Phillips doesn't like the call. And Harry Boyd, a chance for Sandy, a much-needed goal. Here is Phillips working back on Boyd. Umpire said he grabbed a hold of that left arm.
Yeah, it was certainly there. It was a perfect way to kick, and this is what they haven't done in this quarter. Give it to the forwards' advantage, put it to the space, and force the Carlton defenders to defend.
For his first goal of the season. Versatile big man, plays in all 3 zones and does it well. Sandy get their second and keep in touch. Jono, you've already spoken tonight about the importance of taking your chances. Mark Pitternet misses at one end. Boyd goes back. 2-goal swing.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing worse. That's a real coach killer when your team has a shot almost at point-blank range and then they go to the other end and they kick the goal. But there was good forward craft there by Sandringham, and I've been crying for it all this quarter. They need to kick it to advantage, and that's what they did there, Sandringham, when they went forward.
Harry Boyd's second VFL goal, the first, round 15, 2018, when playing for Werribee against Essendon. Dodson amongst Sandy's tall timber tonight. Hands to it for Heath. Collard in pursuit and claimed his prey. And at least generates a repeat stoppage.
That's
a repeat
right.
Look.
And keep the ball inside your forward 50. Give yourself a chance. Now they've got to keep it in there. If they don't score here, they've actually got to keep it in here for the next 30 to minute or so to give a bit of the spell to the defenders of Sandringham.
Boyd to space. Off the ground and got a good piece of it too. Johnson misses everything.
See, I'm not too sure whether I like that, because that just gives the ball back to the opposition, and it's a low percentage shot on goal, kicking in out of the air. I'd rather see a forward grab the ball and try and generate another shot on goal rather than kicking out of mid-air.
Let's head boundary side. Sandringham Zebra. Ethan Williams joins us. Ethan, thanks for your time. What have you made of the game so far?
Yeah, I think we're getting the game on our terms sometimes, but we've just got to keep on playing our way. It's our boys just kind of stuffing us up a bit. Yeah, it's wet, it's dewy, it's hot footy, not many stoppages coming around, so we've just got to take the first option and be a bit more simple with it.
And Ethan, what were the message at quarter time? What did Brendan want to see from you guys this quarter?
Just us being more assertive on defence and getting the ball moving our way, and like if we defend first, we turn it over and then get the game on our turns, open fat side and stuff like that, yeah.
Ethan, how have you found the transition back to being based in Melbourne after some time with the Giants VFL team last year?
Yeah, Sydney's beautiful. I love it up there. But the other thing is that no one talks about footy up there. So, yeah, it's good to be home, no longer homesick and back living with my dad. So, yeah, I'm happy with it.
What do you do during the week, Ethan?
I work for my grandfather. He owns a diamond tool company, and we make the concrete cutting products.
Go, I'll give it a plug.
Oh, it's called Trax Construction Products.
Thanks, Ethan. Well, let's get back to it. Best of luck for tonight and for the road ahead.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Ethan Williams joining us boundary side. As his side starting to rally. Margin sits at 19, but they've had the best of the last 6 or 7 minutes. They're pressing forward again. Boyd just wants to keep it moving. Blues have numbers back, though. They're going to need to be clean. Having to wait for it was Lucas Campriali. And that was a mature, composed switch to Doherty. And now Hogg. The Blues continue their propensity to want to bring it back into the corridor at half-back at every opportunity. They've been aggressive with that tonight. Ben Campriali connects. Hogg, Wilson puts it out in front of Vickery, who turns inside. And as we said, Nudge, this kid is just clean and classy. And Jono, he hits up Liam McMahon.
That was outstanding. He knew that when he gathered the ball, he had someone on his tail, then came back around onto his left foot, and just beautifully in the lane of leading up at him was Hayes, and just McNoonan there, and just was able to lay it out on the chest. That was really time, and I reckon it's about composure. Composure there is the key.
He looks so calm and in control, didn't he? And Liam McMahon now a chance to extend the Blues lead to 25 points with a shot after the siren. 48 metres out. Another superb set shot from Liam McMahon, his second of the term. And the Blues get one late. Third quarter action about to get underway at Icon Park. It's the Blues by 25 points on primetime 7 VFL.
Boyd wins it to Jones. Campriali to Hayes. Kick smothered by Clark. Tries to pick it up with the one Duke. Jones to ground level. Hayes versus Clark again. Hayes being legged as he looked to get the handball free. 3 winners for the brothers Hayes, and Will set to have his 18th touch. Third quarter with thanks to Brady Hotels and Apartments. Off the instep from Hayes. Trap behind Pitternet. McLennan. Travalia. Fist when a mark was there for the taking for Lucas Campriali. Matheson, Clark with the jumping hand pass. Campieli running to the outside, Hasty. Too much on it though, it evaded Heath. Collard trapped behind Monahan. Ball tracked back to him. Monahan coughs it up, dangerous ball. Jones given an opportunity by Campieli that Zach will take. Response asked for without doubt by Brendan Goddard, and response received. Carlton had the opportunity via the Hayes free kick, and thereafter the Zebras took over.
Well, this is the start they needed. They went forward, a bit sloppy going forward. Collard was there putting a little bit of pressure on. They kept the ball alive. Jones was in the middle of the ground. He then pushes over to the contest. It bobbles out, but that's what the response that you needed from a senior player, an AFL-listed player, to be able to just get that ball and actually score and kick his first goal. He's had 19 possessions, so he's had an okay night so far.
Margin back to 19 points. Ideal start for the Zebs. Loser of this game drops to 1-5. Winners at 2-4 and still in touch. Clark pokes it inside 50. Great start to the third term this for the Zebs. Opportunity for Cam Pearley. Flips the handball. Matheson tries to keep it going in the Heat direction. Falling over the top of him was Phillips. He wanted a free kick for having his legs taken out. Ben Campriali works to the outside. O'Farrell. Now Lemmy waits the kick. Liam Henry goes back one-handed, doesn't complete the mark. Travalia goes to the voice of Schoenmaker. He fashions a kick. Drop mark from Cam Pearley. Now has to scrap on the deck. Stepping through Matheson. Carroll was dispossessed. Lingering tackle when he didn't have it. Free kick, Jack Carroll.
Yeah, didn't need to go on with that at all. The Carlton defender there. It was tackle was made. It was done. Didn't need to dump him at all.
Carroll, the ex-Blue. He's got a couple of options, and Zach Jones a chance to kick his second in 3 minutes.
Well, that's the opportunities that they've given themselves. Sandringham in his first quarter, they've had all the inside forward 50s. They brought the ball in. The defenders of Carlton just in disarray, and just a nice little build up there by Jack Carroll just to hit up Zach Jones to go through and kick his second for the quarter.
Just their second mark inside 50 for the night. Zach Jones, as a leader of this team, steps up and seizes the moment with back-to-back goals, and it's a 13-point game. Jono, on the Brady Hotels and Apartments replay, good delivery inside 50. Brennan Goddard would be delighted with this response. What have they changed? What are they doing differently?
Well, they're getting their hands on the ball. Carlton aren't getting their hands on the ball. That's the thing. And what they're doing is they're releasing players and they're going forward. So at the moment, it's 19 possessions to 8 in favour of Sandringham. So they've been first to the ball. They're giving it away. They're actually using it well as well.
The margin halved in 4 minutes. Zach Jones has come out searing hot in the second half. Carroll against Charlson. Ramshaw, careful not to haul it in. Charlson and Phipps Parsons. Jones had claims on one in the back. Doherty will take the ball to the line. A hot start to the second half. Zach Jones, 4 possessions, 2 goals. Can he be the one to light the burners as Sandringham off the bye? And a loss to Brisbane prior to that. That after they turned around a 108-point loss to the Giants to grab a somewhat unlikely victory over Footscray in round 4. They're trying to muster their second win of the season. Carlton win against the Cats in round 5 by 4 points. Losses to Brisbane by that margin in round 1, and North on Good Friday by 2 points. They're here off a loss to Coburg by 22 points last week, as Zach Jones is a bit slow to get up, cradling the left shoulder a bit too.
He's really enforcing himself on this contest as this quarter goes on.
Henry needs to do same. Jones coughs it up to Doherty.
Blues need a little bit of time in possession and some composure here. Can Sam Doherty provide it? They moved the ball very effectively in the first half. Sandringham forced them to bomb it down the line here. Moyer came over the back. Clark at the front, steps through Charleston. Handball into the path of Carroll. Campeely was slick. Off to Travalia. He attacks the goal square. Heath through his fingers, did the hard work on O'Farrell. And the ball skates through for a minor score.
Well, you've got to go through the big window, don't you? You've got to put the big W with your hands and make sure the ball doesn't get out the back. And good forward entry there by Sandringham, but unable to capitalise on that opportunity.
Looking good. All of a sudden, the Zebras and the Blues suddenly finding it a little more difficult to transition the football from the back half. Boyd will take the short option again. It's Doherty. He links up with Vickery. Onto that left boot. Hayes couldn't haul it in. Boyd tidies it up. Johnson to Keeler. Down the line, just keeps it alive and finds Campeely. From 65 out, attacks the square with a flat punt. It'll get over the back. Collard would have been tempted to throw a boot at it. And Lucas Campereale walks it over.
He just needed to bend down and pick it up. It was right there, Collard. And look, opportunity again. They've had all the inside forward 50s. They've had 6-1 in favour of Sandringham, so 5-1, sorry. So they need to make sure that they capitalise here.
Good challenge for Lance Collard this game. We'll expand that discussion in a moment and get your thoughts, Jono. Hayes fighting for it. Henry on the scene too. So Collard prepares, plays 15 minutes and 50 seconds of footy last night to dust yourself off and be as much mentally as physically ready for this. And right now you'd say he's been neither.
Yeah, he really hasn't given much tonight, and the opportunities have come his way a few different times, but it certainly is a challenge, you know, to be sort of playing on the MCG and in front of, 65,000 till, playing in front of, probably 10 or 5,000 here at Icon Park. It's a massive challenge, but you're a professional athlete. You need to get yourself up. You need to impose yourself on the game, and with his speed and what he's been brought in their side is to be able to be that small sort of buzz type around forward and to be able to get some chase down tackles. I think that's what he's been brought in their side to do. 3
touches, 3 tackles thus far. Boyd dusted it off to Jones, gave it up to Vickery O'Keefe in close confines. Campereale. Arm out for Lemmy. Ramshaw bustled out of it from Campeely. It came free. In fact, it was Travalia. Lemmy clever, got it out. And it's a split play now for the Blues. Nelson can sniff a goal. Wants to share for Moyer. Might get it bout. Tried to flick it off the ground and didn't work. McGuinness, Schoenmaker onto the left and drives it free.
Heath with a couple to beat. Fights on and does well. Look at the numbers surround him now, though. Charleston in over the top. As we head to Macca for an update. No Mark Pitternet as yet in this second half, Macca.
Well, he lasted 5 minutes before coming off. Started in the middle with the set of bounce and came back and had a long chat with the doctor and the physio, looking at his sternum, almost in between the rib cage and the sternum after that knee late in the second term. Looks like he's going to come back on, but clearly in a lot of discomfort.
Thanks, Macca. Of course, Mitch McGovern had a sternum or chest injury last night. Fortunately, no structural damage is the report as Fitzparsons chips it inside 50. An important kick this for Will Hayes.
It certainly is, and all uncontested possessions there by Carlton to get this ball inside their forward 50. This is the only real look that they've had in the first 10 minutes or so of this third term. They looked outstanding in the first and second term, but certainly the third term, they have struggled to get the ball inside their forward 50. This is massive for Hayes. He needs to go back and slot this.
Been an elite player at this level for a very long time. 2-time premiership player, team of the year, best and fairest winner at the Bulldogs. And he gets it done.
Well, again, just a little bit of build-up here for Carlton. It was the build-up that they needed to get this scoreboard ticking over once again. They hadn't been inside their forward 50 for almost 10 minutes or so, but geez, That was a great goal by Will Hayes. Needed to go back and solid, as you said, Jace, a very experienced playing at this level, and he really showed that then.
Off 31 and 37 touches in his 2 matches this season, he's having another big say tonight. Clark to Matheson. Stand-in captain tonight with no Blake Watson for the Zebras. Fly is coming in from the side, went Pitnet, who's clearly okay based on that. Wilson looks to run it back and head for the wing. Lemmy's got to get the legs turning. Schoonmaker has a gap on him and the kindest of bounces. Finds his left, and Travalia to Heath. Run option was denied. Heath needs an option like his own self. Collard tried to climb Doherty's back. O'Farrell has kicked it off the lower leg of Camporeale. What's the call?
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
I think he got away with one there, Nudge.
Was it above the knee?
We had both boundary umpires with the perfect vantage point, or one field, sorry, and one boundary umpire to be able to make the call.
Might be off the thigh, because I've just seen Camporeale here. Yeah, it is high on the thigh. He's just shown his opponent. He's already got the red mark showing up.
The Cherries help in multiple sports. Pitternet grabs it. Under pressure immediately was Ferronato. Matheson just couldn't keep it in.
3-goal margin. All the highlights from Saturday's AFL action tonight on AFL Saturday Rewind with Nudge and Kate Massey coming up straight after this game. Lots to unpack from around the world of the AFL. Blues by 3 goals. Pitternet tried to get rid of Heath. He's had a big third term so far. Lucas Camporeale caught one across the head from Matheson inadvertently in that contest. He'll go back. Assess his options at half-back. Ben's had 16 touches. Lucas, his 14th tonight. Kick hangs a long time. Nice mark, Schoonmaker in front of Moyer. Wants to get it and go. It's a bold kick. It might work. The lift doors are about to shut. That was well done by McGuinness. Boyd didn't stick the tackle inside 50 off Doherty. Trying to spin through was Rosines. And the Blues win it back. Doherty straight up the middle to Darcy Hogg.
This is where they look dangerous, Carlton, when they've come through the middle.
Ferronato needs to get back off the mark quickly. Sandringham got numbers back. They look to change direction through Ben Camporeale. He's got Phillips out wide. Now the short hitter is Lucas Camporeale. Another patient build up here from the Blues. Lucas will drive it inside 50. Sandringham, good representation in the middle of the pack. Pitternet came through and pushed. Free kick to the Zebs.
Yeah, you've got to be able to do a little bit better than that from Pitnet, because they've worked the patient build-up by Carlton, the game that we've seen a number of times tonight. Just got to be better than that.
Henry, Schoonmakers, Campili was made to work. Good enough to take it. Henry tracks through for the receive. Campili in his 6th VFL match tonight. Trying to get high again was O'Farrell. That not quite matching the effort as the ball trampolined off his chest in the second quarter on the opposite wing. Harry O'Farrell in his 5th match tonight. Got links to former Blues everywhere as a relation of Des English, Simon Verbeek and Peter Francis.
4 generations worth. And his dad, the Carlton lawyer.
6 degrees of Harry O'Farrell.
Who Patrick Cripps owes a Brownlow medal or two to.
Henry went slip and sliding through it, got off the foot of Vickery. Kick was fashioned somewhat. Over the top went McMahon, who's kicked 2. Gets the drop. Lemmy handballed it into McMahon. Travalia couldn't bounce it up. Through the legs of the figure 8 from Clark, if you don't mind. Williams. Hasty. Schoonmaker was forced into the hand pass from the Rigoni give, and that turns it over to the Blues. Hogg deep. McMahon dealt with. No free kick as it's thumped clear. Charlson couldn't work it. Advantage with the Zebras in number. Hasty down low Pitternet. try and space it for Boyd.
Can Boyd get there inside the line? He cannot. Happy enough to see it roll out. Jordan Boyd trying to work his way back into this Carlton lineup. Had 16 touches tonight, going at 69%. With Lockie Cowan likely to miss some time. An opportunity opens up in the back half of the Blues. Matt Carroll's been taken out of this game tonight for that reason, Johnny. You'd think he'd be next in line. And Ben Camporeale tries to bust through. Doherty, another in that mix. Smothered off his boot on this occasion. Ben Stevenson was taken down. Sandy wanted a free kick. Doherty, the no-look handball to Farinado. The tackle lingered. The Blues play advantage. Gets to the wing. Lemmy slaps it into the running path of Hogg. It was really clever play from Harry Lemmy. Hogg cruises through the middle of Icon Park. How's the kick inside 50? It was okay for McMahon. He didn't hang on. Now he has to scrap at ground level without holding it in. Travalia comes in to put pressure on. The two of them go at it again. It spills out quickly. Johnson did well. Quick release. Now an opportunity up the middle for Williams. Dodson. Campearle paddles to Carroll. He flips it forward. Stevenson keeps it moving. He'll get a shot at goal. Oh, what a team goal that would have been, but for the miss.
That was great work there by Sandringham. Great link up. Just a couple of... When the ball's this slippery and there's a bit of dew on the ground, you've just got to treat the ball with a little bit more consideration when you're giving it to your teammate nice and close. You don't need to drill it to him. You just need to give it to him, because at the moment what we've seen there, that Sandringham just couldn't keep a hand on the ball coming through. But that was a great build-up from half-back.
Dora Jar for the Zebras. 2-2 to a goal in the quarter. They're defending the ground better. It's on show there with the fist from McGuinness to Williams, who had the handball option short in Rosines. Instead, Campearle, Hasty, Keeler, Travalia caught, and there's Blues everywhere, and they swarm and spread. Nelson has Phipps Parsons as the intermediate option instead. Went longer. It got through Richardson. It sits for McMahon, who's got himself a trio. And just like that, we've put the greatest Moz of all time on Sandringham. They were in the game. They got the look. They couldn't take it through Stevenson. And the Blues go coast to coast. Jono, Sandringham had an opportunity for a re-entry, and almost the worst place in footy sometimes to turn it over is when there's density in your front half.
Correct, and look, that was poor by Sandringham there. I call that area the trampoline zone, because sometimes when you kick it there, it just bounces straight back, but they were able to work it out nicely through hands, Carlton, and get it at the back of the defence.
Blake McMahon with his third on the Brady Hotels and Apartments replay as O'Keefe goes inside 50. Chance for a quick strike. Hogg on the way through, couldn't get it through. Monahan stands and waits. Gets it on the deck. Slips away from the tackler, Clark. Pokes it towards the pocket. There's a Blue down inside 50. It's Lemmy. The mark was taken by McMahon, but a push has been paid, and Harry Lemmy gasping for breath. Got crunched in that last contest. He'll come to the bench for assessment. Running underneath it on that occasion was Vickery, and the mark taken by Johnson. So Blues by 23 points as we hit time on in the third term. Harry Lemmy reluctant to come off. Medical staff saying, let's get you to the bench. And have a look there. McGuinness. Johnson slips away from Vickery. Travalia, good pressure here from the Blues. Back to McGuinness, back to Travalia. Now to McLennan off the back foot. Has to hoist it high. O'Farrell takes front spot. Keeler came over the top. A spillage. Opportunity momentarily for Rosines. Wilson. Charlson. Hayes. Quick hands went behind Duffy. He picks it up and is shunted over the line by McGuinness as we head down to Macca.
Harry Lemmy staying out there, pushed off the Doc and the trainer.
Oh, yeah.
Gee, Blues Doc John Stone. He's been a busy man along with the physio, because Mark Pitness just come off again as soon as he came off, just shaking his head, saying to the Doc, I can't run. So that sternum type of area injury is really battling with him, and there is some doubt at this stage we'll see him again.
And McLennan's knee squarely into the ribs of Harry Lemmy.
And we know the lessons learned that the Mark Pitternet injury is just something they can't take any risk whatsoever with. That's a case of some tough players.
Yeah.
Protect them, scan them, and deal with whatever the injury is. But it's been the ultimate mayday this last 24 hours for Carlton. Damage everywhere last night at the MCG in the win over the Saints, and Pitternet and Lemmy asterisks next to their participation for the rest of both tonight. And whatever lies ahead, Hayes' kick is wide. Paul got to it, and they're making an art out of this, the Blues, ushering it to the line and then making sure it's out.
Dewey Knight helps, doesn't it, Jono? Ball just continues to skid towards the line.
Yeah, look, it helps for that, but it hasn't helped in terms of their ball use, and a couple of marks have been dropped inside the forward 50 for Sandringham as well as Carlton, and even we see a lot of players not being able to get a handle on the ball at ground level, so not really good for the conditions of the game.
And that good work done early, largely by Zach Jones, is getting undone here. The Blues were the last two, seeking a third. Lemmy will fly, not impact. McLennan hunting for it, was fumbly. It's tap free. Barrett, Richardson kept it in. Johnson, Henry, to Jones, stepped one, had to cleverly manufacture a kick that worked its way to McGuinness.
He's been good, McGuinness. He's piped up a few times, got a couple of scoring opportunities and set a couple up himself.
Monahan at the back, read it well. Ned McGuinness, the 20-year-old from Old Scotch in the Amos. Phillips. It's a push in the back to Nelson. Pretty obvious one there against Lance Collard. Luke Nelson, one of these experienced VFL players that are just so useful to have on your list. Game 70 tonight. To have the likes of Nelson and Phillips, who has it now, just to help youngsters such as Harry O'Farrell, who looks like an Ethan Phillips clone from 6 or 7 years ago, to Duffy playing his first game. The Irishman, the little kick is good to Hayes, now to Ben Campriali, another patient build-up from the Blues. Ben looks for his brother Lucas. He's got a runner, sweeping past. Will honour that work. It's Ethan Phillips, just hung the kick a little bit. No front-on contact. Collard manages to pick up the football. Uncertain of his option, gives it off. Williams down the line, good strong hands. Max Heath, who's had an influence, wants to go inside, instead just chips down the line. Good grab to Valia as they closed in, and he wore a corky for his trouble.
Travalia with the handbrake on and heading straight for the bench. In from the side, Campieli almost. Say Stevenson was being held before he grabbed the ball there by Hayes. Rosine's, in fact. Here's the corky, and that's a solid one, and almost in the belly of the hamstring there from Nelson. That's going to take some ice. Whistle. Campriali kicked it free. Free kick is to the Zebras.
Going to go to Jones. He was held off the ball. It'll go a free kick to Jones to come up to kick his third for the quarter. He's tried to lift this team in this third term coming out from the break. He's been really impressive.
Just gets himself online. A couple of deep breaths for the veteran. VFL game 14 tonight, alongside 156 for both the Saints and the Swans at the highest level. He can shape this a treat. What a quarter it's been for Zach Jones. Jono, here's the infringement from Ramshaw, the Blues co-captain, on Zach Jones on the Brady Hotels and Apartments replay. He's got such a hot hand at the moment that it's just creating a little bit of panic around stoppages with the Blues.
It certainly is, and he's really on fire. He's ranked #1 of this quarter at the moment. He's had 7 possessions and he's kicked 3 goals. He's certainly on fire. He's one guy that they need to lift even a little bit more in these dying minutes of this third term.
Back to a manageable 17-point margin. Vickery wrapped up by Liam Henry.
You just hope he can grab a couple, Jason, nudge, just to go with him. And I think if he can do that in the next 2 or 3 minutes, they can certainly go on this 3/4 time break with the scoreboard a little bit more closer.
Definitely looking dangerous. Sandringham had a very good third term. And they look well capable of running the Blues down in this third quarter. 2 goals to Carlton, 3 to Sandringham. But they've taken control of the game to an extent. They still trail by 17 points, though. Zach Jones tries to muscle his way through, and Ferronato says no. Henry's handball, socket forward by Poole. Puts his hand up and says, yeah, OK, you got me. I can't even argue this one. Here's Hasty. Sandringham pressing for another goal here before 3/4 time. Hasty wants to take off. Spears it low and flat. Tough one in these conditions to mark for Matheson. Through comes Vickery. Nelson stays down. Can he get there inside the line? No, it won't. Skid away from him. As we hit the 28-minute mark of the third term. Prime time Saturday night, 7 VFL. Blues by 17 points. Zeb's trying to rally.
Which they have in this third quarter, as you can see there. The margin was 25 at the long break. They got that back to 13 through those early Jones goals. It's back inside 3 again. Vickery. Low down mark for Paul. 4th straight game he's had 10 touches or more as McMahon thumps into the Smithy sign. Immediate care for his opponent from James Barrett. So Liam McMahon, the slide, and then just right leg trap under him. It almost accelerated him towards the fence, such as the dewy ground, but he looks to have recovered and is okay, McMahon. Has had some injury issues to deal with through the season, more around some groin soreness and stuff that's impacted his power, and he's actually sliding out a shot there. You can see Jono sensing the state of the game. The co-captain's going to go behind the footy.
Yeah, look, it's been a lot of frustration at the moment for the Zebras. They're being able to get it forward, but they are winning the quarter. But Carlton at the moment just want to protect this lead.
This would be a late gut punch if the Blues could find a goal here, as they did in the second term late in the quarter. Margin at 17 points would give Brendan Goddard and his team plenty of confidence they could run that down from what they've seen in the third term. Can the Blues grab some late momentum here, or at least snuff out a bit of Sandringham's? Well, that's a point-blank range Falcon off the boot of Poole on a night like tonight's never fun. Campili involved with a tackle. Boyd's quick kick back inside 50. Over the top came Barrett. Ball hits the deck. Schoonmaker lays the tackle. Barrett to Henry. Looks to accelerate away. Dangerous kick is a good one into the middle. Maybe a chance for a counter-attack here. Jones gets it to Stevenson, who goes through the middle of the ground. 3-on-1. Need a contest from Heath. And there's Liam McMahon. Right on cue. The skipper sensed the moment, got back, saved the day. Gives it to Doherty. Now Camporeale. Great leadership, Liam McMahon.
The Blues should run this into the 3/4 time huddle. Camporeale, Phillips, who's been the leader when it comes to intercept marks tonight and generally speaking in the league. And look at Sam Doherty late in the quarter trying to run and create as an option. Handball missed target from Paul. Sandringham players hoping and praying for something from the umpires. Andrew Talbot, Chris Brackering and Liam Dye in charge of tonight's contest. 17 points the margin. Tonight's winner to 2-4. Henry's been better in the third. Jones has been fantastic, but let down by that. So the Blues with Mark Pitternet coming back on, but you do wonder, the Blues with the AFL assignment Friday night against Sydney, Matt Carroll withdrawn from the game. Will they look to manage some players late in this contest? Lemmy Marks in front of Barrett. Job done for the Blues. Harry Lemmy with some talk practice. 2 goals to 3 in the quarter, all 3.
After a blistering third term, 3 goals to Zach Jones. So, young Ben Camporelli, he's the man. Luke Powers turn 2.
Thanks, Mac. Final term, thanks to Chemist Warehouse. 17 points the margin. Hudson O'Keefe starts in the ruck. Clark wins the first stoppage. Boyd goes to ground. Was he tripped? Gets a free kick, Jordan Boyd. At the moment, a mismatch, Boyd versus Dodson. Fair discrepancy in size there. 21 centimetres and probably about the same number of kilos. Doherty. Sliding in is Ben Camporelli. Off a step, high kick to the wing. Boyd comes out against O'Keefe. Wilson's been excellent tonight. Hayes, handball over the top. Camporelli was slick. Doherty to Lucas. Back to Doherty. Awkward spiral towards Nelson. Coming in hard was Henry. Ball flips out. Well done, Boyd. Williams got it to Clark. Has an option inside 50, just overhit the kick. O'Farrell gets rid of Keeler. Uses the support. The support is Vickery. Awkward handball made life difficult for O'Farrell. Look out. Chance here. Matheson snaps goalward. Can't punish.
Got to make the most of those opportunities going forward, Sandringham. I reckon Clark there, he looked for the handball. I reckon he needed to go forward. He hesitated a little bit when he kicked the ball forward and just overshot his full forward leading at him.
Boyd, this will skid and carry well beyond centre wing. Nelson, Drew McLennan. That opened up a vacant lot for Moya to McMahon, who's recovered. And the recovery will be complete if he can kick his 4th.
Super ball movement there by Carlton from the back half all the way up to their forward 50. Just unable, got at the back of their defenders and had a forward just sitting in McMahon, just sitting all on his own, 35 metres out.
4, 4, 3 and 3. His hauls in 4 matches this season was part of the winning VFL outfit against the Sandford during gather round. Kick goals in every match in 2024 to be second in the Frosty Miller medal race. And you know, every time he kicks, if the celebration is audible straight away. Jono, all the great players have got their traits on the Chemist Warehouse replay. McMahon kicks. And as soon as you know there's a come on or a yeah, it's going through. The job for the goal umpire is done every single time, Jace.
And they get the all-important first goal of the last term through McMahon, his 4th. Margin out to 22 points. That's been the difference in the game. Nelson going nowhere, wrapped up by Boyd and Hasty and Clark.
Challenge now for Sandringham just to respond now. They started the 3rd term, they won the 3rd term, so they've got to try and respond here and try to win this last quarter.
Hayes couldn't control it, but Ben Camporelli got it to Doherty and then to Hayes. To a 1-on-1.5 forward. Moya worked off it. In there working was Hogg. Needs some support. Pressure came from Ethan Williams. Clark put his head over the football, then legs the man. Umpire says ball it up. Right on the front edge of the square for the Blues. They lead by 22.
Sandringham had Zach Jones really lift in that 3rd quarter. They need someone to lift other than just him in this 4th quarter if they're a chance to be able to put any scoreboard pressure on.
Hayes well tackled by Hasty, and Angus Hasty will win the football back for Sandringham. So an opportunity for the Zebs here from half back.
Lateral is the option to Travalia. Through the hands of Henry. Nelson, Hayes, Ferranato will cough it up. McLennan drops what he should have taken. The option was on the chest. He's been gifted a free kick as the Blues were a little bit overzealous with their attack on both the ball and the man. Hasty had Williams short. Instead, goes to a 2-on-1. Prodigious fist from Phillips. Hasty gets a second look and will think better of it this time. Just low down Campili.
It's almost in these conditions you've got to chest mark everything, don't you? Because everyone else is just dropping the ball.
Campili to Johnson. 65 from goal. Back to Hasty. And that's much better from Sandringham. Patient build-up. Hasty was anything but. And Max Heath can have a shot from right on 50.
But the good thing there, Jace, they're all coaching each other out on the ground. They weren't sort of demanding the ball. They were pointing to where they should kick it next. And that was real good leadership there by Sandringham.
So Max Heath, in his 5th year in the system, the 22-year-old, originally from Beaumaris and Xavier. Playing VFL game 53 tonight. This to spark the Zebs from 48 out. It's right to the line. O'Keefe did what a good defensive ruckman does. Put himself in the right spot and save 5 points.
Yeah, good work. You always need your tall guys or your tall ruckmen or your tall defenders on that last line of defence and able to get a fingertip there. Unlucky there.
Boyd to Doherty. Doherty to Boyd. And they're folding back the Zebras rather than rushing towards him. Jones will eventually be the one to put some sort of immediate pressure on him. Lucas Camporiali with the mark. His 19th of the night. I had an outnumber there in Lemmy from the side. Through comes Wilson. Got a good slice of it. Barrett will lead McMahon to the ball, but immediately Boyd set upon by Hayes, who's spotting him the best part of 25 kilos. Shuffled free, Ramshaw, Wilson. Williams looking for a way out and couldn't find one. Blues into attack again, and McMahon a chance for 5.
He reads the cue pretty well, doesn't he? Up the ground when he knows when to turn over, he knows how to get separation. The last couple of times he's been on his own, but that there, he was able to get separation and give his midfield an opportunity to hit him lace out.
Here's the O'Keefe touch at the other end. The flick of the fingers.
It's a good 10 feet off the ground.
No side-on shot to tell us exactly where it was, but
It's a fair vertical leap, though, isn't it?
the 1% of play, as you said, Jace, like any good tall should, back on the line, covering it off, and then at the other end, McMahon, the beneficiary with the shot, but not the finish.
And you could tell because there was no
come
on.
audible groan. Margin 22. It was 17 at three-quarter time.
4 goals, 2 tonight for Liam McMahon. Away comes McLennan. Searching towards the wing. Stevenson had it spoiled away by Phillips. Hayes flips to Ramshaw. Fires a handball back. Duffy leaves it for Doherty. He retreats to Phillips. Now Ben Camporiali has support behind the football. It's Boyd. And Boyd to Doherty. And those two have just had composure tonight. And Charlie Rosines gives away a 50. The steady heads of Boyd, Doherty, Ethan Phillips in particular tonight have been really useful behind the footy for the Blues, Jono.
They have, and Doherty's been outstanding. His leadership back there has been great.
There's O'Keefe pushing forward. And Hudson O'Keefe a chance to go back and kick his 7th goal of the season and give the Blues a very handy lead.
That 50-metre kills you even more now, especially when you go forward and not even a third man come up and help Isaac Keir there. Needed the third man up to come across, but O'Keefe now gets an opportunity to put the Carlton Football Club in front by more.
The 20-year-old who stands 202 centimetres steps up, pushes it right, works it back, not quite enough. Another opportunity goes begging for the Blues. Hudson O'Keefe with a couple of behinds so far tonight as Schoenmaker launches.
Doesn't get the purchase he hoped for. Hayes doesn't get the purchase he hoped for either. And we start all over again. Ari Schoenmaker arguing upfield with teammates. He's had 20 possessions tonight, so a bit down on his normal output. Will Hayes, incidentally, 29 again. You can almost set your watch by him having 30 in this Blues midfield. Jones and Boyd try to combine. Boyd clears William Johnson. Seen to the line by Vickery, who's played a clever game tonight for the Blues. 16 possessions, not quite capturing the impact that the former Swan has had. Of course, one other game running almost parallel with this tonight in the Smithies VFL. It's at Kinetic Stadium between Frankston and Coburg. 18 minutes into the third quarter. The Lions with a 10-point advantage.
Having a good run of it, Coburg becoming very competitive. Clark's kick. Scrap there for Duffy. Doherty was clean. Handball to Monahan. Nice flick, slick hands. And Vickery again chooses the right option and hits it. Hayes overhits that one. It was the right option, but just the wrong execution. Oh, trouble. Difficult. Barrett made life very, very tough there for Schoenmaker. And it'll be a throw in. Almost sold him up the river completely. Sandringham can set up defensively here as they try to hang on. They need the next goal. They trail by 23 points. Heath at the front. Trying to milk the free kick, according to the umpire, who didn't go for it. I think it's Ferranato, it is. Gets up with a little smirk on his face. Lemmy to a dangerous spot. Well played by Poole, who's done some good things tonight. He's attacked by Johnson. Socket in the arms of Phipps Parsons. Keeps it alive. It's slapped in the Clark direction. He's tackled by Poole and Ferranato. And once again, the Blues just locking it in with forward pressure and refusing an easy exit for the Zebs.
Yeah, the Zebras are struggling here. They're going to really push themselves here. There's going to be a free kick awarded here to the Zebras, and they're going to use the advantage.
It was Lemmy holding on Hayes. Jones steps, steadies. Won't get this past O'Farrell. His kick is back. There was an opportunity for Agoni to get involved, but he couldn't impact. Nelson scurries free.
And this is what it's been all night like. It's been Doherty and Boyd just back there. They're real experienced heads. When Zebras come at them, they just slow it down and have a patient build-up, and they normally work it up to their forward 50.
Yeah, the two players you mentioned, Jono, ticking towards a combined 60 possessions tonight. As Ramshaw has it. Vickery. Monahan short. Heads wider and safer. Phipps Parsons, no, sorry, it's Ferranato, who has Moyer there. Moyer keeps it alive. Outside the bubble was Ramshaw. Rigoni couldn't trap. Hasty with the trio of Blues in front of him. Travalia, McLennan, Rigoni with a flyer. Boyd stays down. Doherty with the fists. And away go Carlton once more. Camporeale tried to squeeze that ball and had two targets and missed them both. Found McLennan, and a bit of fatigue setting in the conditions.
Coming up straight after the final siren, AFL Saturday Rewind with Nudge and Kate Massey. What's on the agenda this evening?
Well, we're headlocking Jono to make his debut and keep the rotation policy going. Review of the Hawks, who struggled for 3 quarters against Melbourne, but held sway in the end to continue their early season setup. Essendon with a terrific win in the twilight, but the Swans certainly made a game of it late. And then all the action from Darwin, the Suns hosting the Dogs, and also Showdown 57.
Lemmy, low kick inside 50. Heath goes back, takes a defensive grab. Can they launch something here, Sandringham? Need some creativity, Jono.
They do, and they've got plenty of time on their hands. We've seen most quarters push out to sort of 27, 28 minutes, so they've got still a fair bit of time. They've just got to make sure that they work it through the corridor. I feel they look dangerous, more dangerous if they hit targets through the corridor and attack through the corridor.
McLennan, the switch. Shows a fair bit of it to Phipps Parsons. Got a hand in there to break it up. Moy couldn't control it. Bassett did well. Barrett, rather, did well. Schoenmaker down the line, past Doherty. Blues have got coverage at the back. It's Monahan. Pressure comes from McGuinness. To half forward, making a contest, doing well was Farinado at the back. Schoenmaker comes through. Ramshaw almost intercept. Hogg goes to ground. Farinado again. Ben Camporelli was touched off his boot. Inside 50. Phipps Parson tried to slap it on. McMahon taken down. Holding the football. And away come the Zebs through Clark.
And they are well and truly out. Jones needs to make the right decision. He goes grass. McGuinness. Hand pass was pinpoint. Dodson drives deep. Out the back is Keeler. Can he get a fly? He got away from Phillips, who's got support from Vickery. In comes Rosines. Out go the Blues. Paul finds Duffy. He could be 15 minutes away from singing the song. Gaelic check to find Charlson. In from the side, Campeely. Over the top, Moyer. And the whistle favours no one in particular. 23 the margin. Here's
That's what it looked like.
Phillips.
As pure a throw as you'll ever see.
Lemmy outpoints Heath. Johnson shut down.
Dominate possession at the moment. Carlton, they're 64 to 47 in Sandringham. So Sandringham just need to get their hands on the ball and just try and work it away from Carlton's defence, because Carlton's defence, once they get the ball, they're just losing it well once they come out of their defensive 50.
It could almost be 50 against Doherty, who did touch the football. Umpire didn't spot it. It'll come back, Jack Carroll. So can Sandringham find a couple in a hurry here and at least put a little bit of pressure on Carlton and maybe get them a little nervy late? Right now the Blues sit on a comfortable 23-point lead. Clark feeds the handball through to Williams. He tries to go deep to Dodson. Going back was Duffy, did just enough. Umpire said didn't infringe. Throw in the pocket.
They've got to keep it in here now, Sandringham. They've got to force Carlton to defend and manufacture a shot on goal.
We tick over 17 minutes in the final term at Icon Park. It'll be Dodson against Lemmy. Doherty taken down. Clark, one-handed pick up and kick all in one motion, and Ethan Phillips has been a rock back there, and he's managed to work 50 out of Isaac Keeler, and the Blues now can counterpunch.
Been a day for 50-metre penalties. The Swans giving away 7 against Essendon at Marvel. Wilson, Phipps Parsons stayed down, but got hands into Schoenmaker. Travalia. Dodson can come in from the side. Phillips was sandwiched. Campeely goes hunting Farinado. Nelson, neat hands. Camporeale, good to McMahon, who's in range and told to take his 30. Look to the bench for Liam McMahon and maybe assessing if there are other options, but he's got good range in the kick. Dewey Knight, ball can be a touch heavier. If he can strike the sweet spot, should get all of 50. Might have ourselves a blood rule. In fact, we do. Sam Doherty, second of the night from the same spot. And you'd think it might almost be flick the bails time for the veteran who's had 33 possessions tonight. Job done for Carlton's number 15. So Liam McMahon will kick this from just adjacent to the centre square. No roar of affirmation. 4-3 for the Blues co-captain, and once again we're at 4 goals.
Shoemaker the kick in. Time is now for Sandy. Got to go. Got to make something happen here. But they go conservative to the pocket.
Yeah, no, they can't be going to the pocket. They've got to go longer and straight through the corridor. They've got to bring it in if they can right now.
Rigoni has it at half-back. He goes towards half-forward. 4 Blues up. Ball hits the deck. Here's Rosines. Nice touch kick from Charlie Rosines. Keeler can run to 40. Took his full allotment of time and makes it count. Sandy get one. Margin back to 3 straight kicks.
Well, they done it the unorthodox area here is on the Chemist Warehouse replay. I said come through the corridor, but Jace, they went out wide, and Isaac Keeler there able just to sort of measure that goal and put the pressure again, and that's what they need. They need to get the ball inside their forward 50 as quick as they can. 4
Carlton players all up, no one down. Zeb's back within 3 goals.
And Zebras with their first of the last after Zach Jones, that man with the hand pass, kicked their 3 majors in the third. Henry could not fend off Lucas Camporeale. That's a big stop.
And you don't know whether Jones meant that handball on the ground, but if he did, it's not good, but you should be able to hit your target there on your left-hand hand.
Heath, Henry, channel to goal for the ex-Docker. Fist on it from O'Farrell, and Charlton takes it through behind the goals and behinds.
Go on, say it. Important point. 17 points the margin. Inside 3 goals now for Sandy. Boyd shows a bit of it. Doherty hangs on. So he got the nose patched up and straight back into the action to try and put this game away for the Blues, because it is still alive for Sandringham. If they can force a turnover and a goal here, there is time for them to put that pressure on Carlton that we spoke about a few minutes ago. They needed 2 to at least start to make it interesting. They have one of them. Ramshaw to the wing. Off the hands of O'Keefe. Taken by Heath. Handball a little hot for Henry. Ramshaw tried to stand up through it. Boyd came through. Travalia, Jones, Richardson. Inside 50, Keeler comes at the ball again. Phillips got a tap to it. Boyd needs support. Coming through to take possession there was Collard. High kick. In from the side came Campili. Ramshaw couldn't control it. Phillips will wrap up. And the Blues at the moment just hanging on. They lead it by 17 points.
They've got it inside their forward line, Jay, so they can create a goal opportunity here.
Boyd tried to clear a path. Collard, kick smothered. It's come free. 2-on-1 on the line against Keeler. O'Farrell and Phillips, can they combine? Punched out. This is an interesting call. Ollie Poole given the benefit of the doubt.
Isaac Keeler, he's been up against 2 all night. Every time the ball has gone to him, he's given a contest and brought it to ground. But you just hope that, you know, he can actually get to the contest and actually give and maybe mark 1 or 2 of those.
Where's the movement off ball amongst Henry, Jones and Clark? Camporeale was at the source to win it. Phipps Parsons versus Williams. Into the back from Lemmy on Heath's not called. Phipps Parsons, Ramshaw, Camporeale. A kick to grass. McLennan will be first back and by some margin. But he's running away from goal when he should be marching through. Kick had too much on it. Camporeale with the fist. Jones tackled by the brother of Ben. And they've just done the right things at the right time more often tonight, Carlton. And this is case in point.
He's been good tonight. Ben Camberelli.
33rd touch, John.
Yeah, 33rd touch at the moment, and a lot of those have been contested and uncontested. So he's had 14 contested and 19 uncontested, 5 tackles within that, 5 inside forward 50s. He's been really, really good.
And one of only 2 players on the ground to have double-figure ground ball gets on a night where it's been Dewey. He and Hunter Clark have had 12 each. For his first VFL goal, it was deserved. It doesn't arrive, but Ben Camberelli, he's putting his hand up for an AFL debut.
Shoemaker goes straight up the middle, no time to waste. 3-goal margin as we approach the 25-minute mark. It almost gets through, but Doherty there again to Vickery. The Blues going into game management mode here. Now Boyd to Wilson, who's had plenty of the football as well tonight. His 26th touch is a short ball to Doherty. Now to Boyd as we hit the 25-minute mark. Boyd down the line to Hayes, who found a bit of space on the boundary line. Some composure from experienced Blues here. Hayes sees Ramshaw inside. Ramshaw can go back outside.
Just being very patient here, Carlton. They know there's not much time to go, so just moving the ball around, stat padding a little bit, going back on a number of times. You've got Boyd back there, you've got really experienced heads back there. They don't want Sandringham to get another goal.
Successfully burn a minute off the clock here with 0 risk. It's Wilson now.
And they would have trained for this, Jace. They would have trained for this a number of times over the pre-season. Good to see it get put into practice.
Wilson eventually will kick to a contest off Lemmy. O'Keefe taken down by Max Heath. Strong tackle. And they successfully get rid of 90 seconds. Coming up, Sunday footy feast tomorrow from midday, leading into Geelong and GWS down at the Cattery, and then to be followed by Brownie, K-Mac and Richo on the wash-up. Nelson got a hand in there. Travalia to Richardson.
This is
Rigoni.
better. This is much better by Sandringham.
Straight up the middle of the ground. This might work for Dodson. Going back was Boyd, infringed in the process. Sandringham push numbers inside 50. Can Dodson find an option? Goes quickly. Boyd's his target. Doherty did just enough to get it to ground. Boyd's now got to compete at ground level. Phillips, Doherty, and they can clear through Vickery, who goes short to Lemmy.
They've been so good in Carlton. Their defence have been really good. They've been able to get back and just get numbers back there, but their composure coming out of the back half has been extraordinary.
Lemmy goes long. And Carlton return to the winners list with a victory that might just spark their VFL season. Carlton 9-11-65 defeat Sandringham 6-11-47. Next up, the Blues will head to Sydney to face the Swans on Friday afternoon, while the Zebras will have the bye. Carlton with their 2nd win of the year, and they do it, Jono, by 18 points.
Yeah, they did, and they got a bit of a fright in that 3rd term where Zach Jones come out and kicked 3 goals. He was the #1 ranked player, but they started almost from the start. They led from 5 points, and then they pushed through and led by 25 points at the half. They really used, they were very, very patient coming out of the back half and coming through the middle of the ground. They used it well by hands. They linked up